Welcome to another edition of Baseball Weekend Journal. I'm your host, Paul Shivari. This week, I will go over the remaining free agents that are left after the recent signings of Howie Kendrick, Doug Fister, and Ian Kennedy. The Australian Baseball League playoffs are underway as the Adelaide Bite and the Canberra Cavalry play to advance to the championship round. The Caribbean Series kicks off this week, and Yu Darvish is cleared of having any association to his brother's gambling ring. All that and more on the Baseball Weekend Journal for the week of January 31st, 2016. As the Major League offseason draws closer to spring training, the last few remaining free agents continue to be signed to contracts for the upcoming season and beyond. Some of the names I have mentioned in the past few weeks have gone on to new teams, and some have remained stuck in free agency limbo. One of the bigger names that have been signed was right-handed starting pitcher Ian Kennedy. Kennedy and the Kansas City Royals have agreed to a 5-year, $70 million contract. The Royals needed to improve on their starting pitching, which was fourth worst in the American League despite finishing the season as World Series champions. Kennedy will more than likely slot in at number 3 in the Royals rotation behind Edinson Volquez and Yordano Ventura. Howie Kendrick and the Los Angeles Dodgers have reportedly agreed on a 2-year deal. The second baseman is the favorite to retain his starting role, but now the Dodgers find themselves with plenty of depth at middle infield. Chase Utley and Enrique Hernandez will compete as backups, while newly acquired Micah Johnson will probably have to bide his time for AAA Oklahoma City this season. The Houston Astros signed Doug Fister on a 1-year deal. Fister, who had great years the previous 2 seasons before last with the Detroit Tigers and the Washington Nationals, missed time with a flexor injury in 2015. He still was able to make 15 starts and 25 appearances, but barely made it over 100 innings. His velocity on his fastball has been dropping steadily over the last few years. The Astros are willing to take a chance on Fister. He provides veteran experience and will not face a lot of pressure to lead the young team from the bottom of the rotation. If Fister can get past his injuries, he should be a solid 4th or 5th starter. The Colorado Rockies were faced with the dilemma of having more than enough Major League caliber outfielders on their roster after signing Gerardo Parra a few weeks ago. To make matters more interesting, all of those outfielders were left-handed. The Rockies solved that problem by striking a deal with the Tampa Bay Rays that sent Corey Dickerson and minor league third baseman Kevin Podlow to Tampa Bay. The Rays sent relief pitcher Jake McGee over to Colorado, along with minor league pitcher German Marquez. While some critics of the deal felt that Tampa Bay is getting the better part of the deal, it should be noted that Dickerson missed time in 2015 with plantar fasciitis in his left foot. He is healthy at the moment, but playing half of his season on the hard artificial turf of Tropicana Field may aggravate his foot injury. McGee missed the beginning of 2015 after having a bone spur removed from his pitching elbow. He was projected to be the closer for the Rays after his surgery, but lost the role to Brad Boxberger. McGee may have the opportunity to close for Colorado as Adam Ottavino is recovering from Tommy John surgery. MLB.com released their list of the top 100 prospects. Topping the list this year is Los Angeles Dodgers shortstop Corey Seager. Seager, who was a September call-up last year, is ahead of Minnesota Twins prospect Byron Buxton, who dropped to number 2 on the list after being number 1 the previous year. Both Buxton and Seager made their major league debuts in 2015 and are expected to be on their team's opening day rosters. Last year's number 1 draft pick, Dansby Swanson, who was dealt from the Arizona Diamondbacks to the Atlanta Braves in the Shelby Miller trade, came in at number 8. Texas Rangers breakout hitter Joey Gallo was 9. New York Mets pitcher Steven Matz, who started Game 4 of the World Series, was on the list at number 15. And 2013 number 1 draft pick Mark Appel came in at number 70. Appel was traded to the Phillies in December as part of the deal that brought Ken Giles to the Astros. The prospects lists are always debatable, but it is a solid indicator of who is ready or close to ready to compete at the major league level. Coming up next week, I'll continue to follow the top prospects for each organization who will get invited to spring training, as well as continue to monitor the movement around the Hot Stove League. The Australian Baseball League playoffs began on Friday with the home team Adelaide Bite defeating the Canberra Cavalry, powered by 2 home runs from Texas Rangers prospect Travis Demeritte. The series is a best of 3 and shifted over to Canberra on Saturday. Game 2 was delayed 2 batters into the game by a hailstorm that later turned to rain. The game was suspended and will be continued on Sunday afternoon. If there is a need for a Game 3, it will commence 30 minutes after the completion of Game 2. The winner of the preliminary will face the Brisbane Bandits to battle for the Claxton Shield. Tune in next week as I keep you updated on the ABL Championship Series. Meanwhile, in the Dominican Republic, the Caribbean Series is set to kick off on Monday. Teams from 5 different leagues will compete over the next week to determine a champion. The leagues are from Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Mexico, Cuba, and the Dominican Republic. Tigres de Aragua won the Venezuelan Baseball Championship this week over Navegantes del Magallanes. Leones del Escogido picked up their 17th Dominican League Championship this week by defeating Tigres de Licey. Cangrejeros de Santurce won the Puerto Rican League. Venados de Mazatlan defeated Mexicali in the Mexico Pacific League. And Cuban National Series representative Ciego de Avila Tigers rounds out the field. All of the teams won their respective league championships this week, except for Ciego de Avila Tigers. The Cuban National Series is currently in the middle of their season. This year's series will feature a home run derby on Wednesday night. You might have heard of some of the participants. David Ortiz, Robinson Cano, Vladimir Guerrero, and Cuban star Alfredo Despaigne will be participating. Hall of Fame pitcher Juan Marichal will throw out the first pitch on Monday to kick off the week-long event. Tidbits before I wrap up this week's show. After their investigation, Major League Baseball has cleared Yu Darvish of participating in any form in his brother's gambling ring. This is a sigh of relief for fans of Darvish, the Texas Rangers, Nippon Professional Baseball, and any fan of Major League Baseball. The Los Angeles City Council on Friday voted unanimously to rename the road leading to Dodger Stadium as Vin Scully Avenue. Scully is set to retire from broadcasting Dodgers games after this season, which will be his 67th. And Oakland A's catcher Stephen Vogt had minor elbow surgery on Friday to remove a bone chip in his right elbow. He will miss the next 6 to 8 weeks, but is expected to be ready for opening day. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of Baseball Weekend Journal. Follow us on Twitter at Baseball Weekend, like us on Facebook by searching for Baseball Weekend Journal, and reach out to the show by email, baseballwj@gmail.com. For Baseball Weekend Journal, I'm Paul Shivari. We'll see you next week.